people won't stop messaging me on Grindr while I'm trying to record this video about sex with trans men. Grindr is fucking wild because it's like this. How do I explain it? I see you coming over. I'm busy. Don't do it. There she is. There are so many things that I could say are wrong with Grindr, but one of the things is that it's this fucking hellscape app where you log on and you check, just to browse, whatever. You're browsing, you're doing your thing, you go on the phone, and then hours later, people will contact you. Like hours later, I'll get messages like, hey, what you up to? Or hey, good morning, or hey, whatever. Which is like, it's like, fuck, I'm not looking right now. I was looking 8 hours ago, bud. Where were you? Time's a wasting. I've already nutted like 3 times. This is not a timely, you were too late. Lacey, no one wants to see your asshole. That's kind of what Grindr is like also, just people just sending you pictures of their asshole. I've got like 5 in my inbox right now, which shows that I guess look like a switch because I get an equal amount of dick pics and ass pics. Ass pics do nothing for me. Not really. Nothing, not my thing. But yeah, if I'm on Grindr at like midnight, someone will send me a message at like 6 in the morning and be like, good morning, winky face. I'm like, I was sleeping. Grindr. I'm not horny anymore. You get me for like 20 minutes of horniness where I'm just browsing, being like, maybe, and then I decide to jerk off, and then that's a much more pleasant experience. There's a time limit. You get that time. You don't extend on that time. You get me for like a 20-minute period where I'm trying to decide, do I want to hook up? Do I want to masturbate? And honestly, I usually just go for the jerkin because like it's so much less drama. And I don't have to deal with these fucks hitting me up at 6 in the goddamn morning. Why are you horny at 6 in the morning? No one's had their coffee yet. I work from home. I make my own hours, and I'm not searching for dick at 6 in the morning. Anyway, hello. This is not what the video is about. This episode of PinkBlue is about... I started the sentence and it sounded like a Sesame Street thing. This episode of PinkBlue is brought to you by the letters DTF and the numbers 6 and 9. Something that people on Grindr are probably wondering. And they ask me in inappropriate ways, which is not cool. But you viewer, you're not asking me. I'm providing this information to you of my free will. So that is the difference, is you're not asking in a weird, creepy way. I'm giving you this information. And if you didn't want this information, why did you click on this video? It's very clear in the title what this is going to be about. Even though I just talked about Grindr for like 20 minutes or whatever the fuck. That's not, you know. I go on tangents. It's a Jesse thing. Blah. I can't keep my mind straight or my focus on, because there's nothing straight about me. Sex with trans men, sex with cis men. What's the difference? It's a question that comes up a lot, and I thought it was something that I should address in this episode. If you wanted to know the answer, you've come to the right place. You've come to the right place. I gotta stop making sex jokes. It's not funny. I'm not a YouTube poop. I have thoughts and feelings. I'm a human being. I'm not just gonna recycle dick jokes until we all die. What are some of the differences that you will find having sex with a trans man versus having sex with a cis man? Well, I'm here to tell you. The answer is very simple. Don't worry. Ready? Here it comes. Every trans man is different. There's no answer. I'm sorry. I fooled you. I goofed you so good. You should see your face right now. Unfortunately, there is no straight answer. What is the difference? Because trans dudes are dudes. Cis dudes are dudes. All dudes are not the same. You could have a widely different experience having sex with one trans man versus another. We're like fingerprints or snowflakes or a third thing that's funny. There are cis dudes that are good at sex, but there are also cis dudes who are bad at sex. There are trans dudes who are good at sex. Also, there are trans dudes who are bad at sex. I blew your mind. I blew it. I really wish there was a simple answer I could give y'all because, you know, it's sweet. Sometimes people contact me or are like, hey, I'm really attracted to this trans person, whether it's a trans male, trans female, a non-binary person. And they ask me like, how talk good? How do I make it so that I don't make them feel uncomfortable? I want to be respectful of them, but I also don't want to assume anything. And I don't know, help. And that's very sweet and good that you want to, you know, be respectful. But here's the thing, just Yeah, we're people. It's not the answer that you want, but it's the answer that is true. Sex with us is just like sex with anyone else. You know, it requires open communication, and that's the biggest thing. It's just open communication and consent, and just talk things out, you know? Sometimes it isn't meant with malice, but when you get into saying things like, "Oh, I've been with a trans dude, they're fucking great," then you're generalizing, and that becomes fetishy real fast. It's kind of something only we can say, you know? If I'm complaining about a trans dude being a fuckboy, I'm like, fucking trans dudes, you know, like, because I can say that, but I feel like there are certain things that only certain groups of people, like, it's all right if I poke fun at it, you know, but if someone else does, then that's, you know, most trans jokes are like that. Like, a trans person making a trans joke, that's more acceptable, you know, than if someone else, if a cis person makes a trans joke, then I'm like very just like, yeah, what else you gotta say, huh? What? You know? Haha, you know. Trans people are fetishized enough on dating sites, in porn, basically everywhere. So it'd be just great if you don't endorse that, accidentally or not. Just like I'm not gonna make a joke about black people, because that's not coming from me. It's not appropriate. Even if it is a well-crafted joke about trans people, sometimes it has to come from a trans person. Do you get what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? Okay. Which is why it can be harmful, even though because like stereotypes can be positive, but they're still negative, you know? Asian people being good at math is still sucky and bad. Because shitty people will be like, what? It's a compliment. But it's like, it's not. It's not if you're still generalizing about a group of people. And sometimes that's hard to wrap your head around, but just think about it. Take some time, do some research online. Give it a good old go in your noggin, and just come back with a fresh head tomorrow. Saying all trans dudes are good in bed, it's wrong, first off. I had a casual sexual partner who was assigned female at birth, who was hooking up with me and also another trans dude. And I used to be a fuckboy, so I know how to identify other fuckboys. And they kept describing his, like, attitude and his actions to me, and, like, how they were getting annoyed with him. And I was just sitting there like, hey, bud, this is a fuckboy. And they were like, oh, no, I don't think so. You know, it's this, and this. I think they're trying. But in my head, I was like, you know what? Let's just see we'll see how this plays out. And no, apparently he was terrible in bed, and I called it. So yeah, trying to avoid fetishizing, even though things can be positive, it's still a negative. So yeah, trying to avoid fetishization by being like, all trans dudes are this, or you just have to do this to trans dudes and they like it, you know? Like, it's different for everyone. Some trans dudes use their vaginas for sex. Some trans dudes don't have vaginas. Some, you know, like, surgeries, non-surgery, like, there's physical transitioning, there's mental transitioning. No trans dude is the same. Therefore, no sexual experience with a trans dude is going to be the same. Make sense? Cool. Pew pew. I don't know why. What was this? Jesse, what are you doing? Is that a bisexual thing? The bisexual finger guns? Does that count for pan also? Can we have the finger guns too? It's 2019. We're basically the same at this point. The line is just about... It's almost there. I can't tell you definitive differences between having sex with trans men versus cis men, but what I can do is share some things that were different that I was told by cis women who usually only hook up with cis dudes, what they told me about having sex with me. Some things that might be different because of society and other factors. So we can learn through their eyes and their personal experiences, which are not definitive because all people are different, but it might give you a little insight into things. But before I do, I would like to just blanket disclaimer. Number one, this is all my experience. This is experience of me talking with other trans people. This is my own experience. This is all very personal. Might not happen for you. Might. I don't know. And number two, I might be using some words, like in all PinkBlue episodes, you should just take this as a blanket disclaimer. I might be using words that some trans people might find icky. I'm going to be using biological words like names for body parts and stuff. So if you're not comfortable with that, totally fine. Just click on another video. I personally don't like using the words either, so I'll try to like sub in some other things. So that'll, be rock and roll. Because I was raised assigned female at birth, I have a better understanding of cis females. Because I was raised as one, I grew up with them, and it's living as one is a different experience because I'm able to relate to struggles they go through. I know how to treat a vagina, because I literally had one for my whole life, unfortunately. I've been on T long enough that I don't have periods anymore, and that it's just kind of just sitting there being a waste of space and just making me sick. Literally, you're more prone to UTIs because it's a long. You've seen other videos. Go to the previous PinkBlue episode and I talk about it. But yeah, it's just a waste of space. And although I didn't feel anything good touch, you know what? Okay, here's the thing. I use the terms innie junk and outie junk because that's more comfortable. I don't like being reminded that I have this waste of space. So if you hear me say innie junk, that means vagina. Outie junk is my dick. So even though I never liked anything being done to my innie junk, I know how it works. I've been to the gynecologist. I've had one. It's, like you gain experience from having one that an assigned male at birth person just can't relate to, no matter how much they try. They could, a cis man is what I'm talking about right now. But also assigned male at birth people in general, because they don't have one. Sometimes they don't know how to treat it. Assigned male at birth people, generally speaking, at least in America, grow up watching a lot of porn, and that's their sex education. Assigned female at birth people, they could just play with the shit and experiment and do all this kind of crazy shit. But assigned male at birth people only have what we can tell them about it and what they learn through experience. So sometimes an assigned female at birth person having sex with a cis man is just them being like, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. And then they just fucking jam on the clit like they're playing a Mario Party minigame. Like they're bashing B, like they need to pump up the hammer or whatever the fuck Mario's doing. Gotta get all the coins. I'm gonna beat my best friends because Mario Party ruins friendships. Eat shit, Peach. I'm doing it. Which is, spoiler alert, not the way to treat a clitoris. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not good. If they ask for that, sure. Yeah. If they don't ask for that, don't assume that's what they want. I don't want to get into health stuff because we gotta move this video along, and that's probably for a different video. The clitoris is real sensitive. You don't want to be fucking bashing it like a Captain America hitting sandbags. So that's one difference. Although I am a man, I was raised female and I know innie junk very intimately. So usually sex with me is more of a good, I know things. I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole, but I've been told I'm not bad in bed, which is good because I've spent a lot of my life learning about sex. You only get one life, and I want to be as good at sex as possible. So I watch videos, I listen to podcasts, I do stuff with partners and then ask their opinions and give them a 10-question survey. It's like when you call Grubhub and then at the end they're like, could you stick around and just answer some questions for us? That's what I'll do in bed. I'll just we'll be done. And then I'll be like, hey, real quick, would you mind sticking around for this 10-question survey? I'm totally joking, but I'm a perfectionist enough that might actually be a thing one day. Yeah, and I'm such a dork. Anyway, the same principle applies to someone going down on an assigned female at birth person. Assigned male at birth people who don't do any research, usually it's just porn, and that's where they learn how to do it, and it's more rough some of the times. Because the more mainstream porn isn't very good to women. And hey, it's not y'all's fault. It's, if you've seen something your whole life and you just assume oh, that's what people want. I've seen a lot of shows recently who have delved into that topic of assigned male at birth people seeing things in porn and thinking that's what girls want in real life. Euphoria touched on it. Mrs. Fletcher. There's a lot of shows that have done it in really good, poignant ways. Those are both great shows. I recommend them both. HBO, you're doing it. You're knocking it out of the park with trans representation, and I'm a little scared because it's good, and all good things usually end in something bad. in my experience. Uh-oh, was that more of a Freudian slip? Okay, that tells you a little about my life. Anyway, if I say AFAB or AMAB, that's short for assigned female at birth, assigned male at birth. Just faster to say. We don't have time for words. Go, go, go. A lot of AFAB people that I have been intimate with who have only been with cis dudes before me, usually we're doing stuff and I'm like, can I go down on you? And usually they're like, I don't know. They're a little shy about it. And I'm like, has it ever felt good? And I like ask them and they're like, usually not. And I'm like, why don't we try for like a second? And then if you don't like it, we can stop. And they're like, okay. And 100% of the time in my experience, they have really enjoyed it, which like totally sucks that like a lot of assigned female at birth people don't think that they like oral just because like cis dudes usually aren't good at it. And it's not their fault. They just don't have an intimate knowledge of how the equipment works. I was with someone a couple months ago and I started to like do it and she was like, oh, it's okay, you don't have to. Like she felt bad, like it was a chore that I was doing, because a lot of cis dudes in my experience treat it like a chore. Like they don't like want to do it. They just, it's like a step in the order so that they can just put their dick in something. So she was like kind of shy and embarrassed. I was like, no, you don't have to. It's all right. And I was like, listen, I straight up told her, hey, I'm not a cis dude. I like doing this. I know what I'm doing. And she was like, fair enough. And let me go, which was so funny. And she really enjoyed it. So that was a win for everyone. There's nothing I love more than being with someone. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a couple things that I like more than that. There's a list on the sexual things that I enjoy, feelings that aren't just like sexual acts, like the feelings that I get from sex. And one of the top ones is being with someone who's only been with cis dudes, and I do something that they're like, oh wow, that actually felt good for once. I'm like, hey, thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy, and also, suck it, Derek. My dick is almost an inch erect, and I'm better at things than you. Sometimes I am reminded that a lot of cis dudes are just horrible monsters, and I've learned that through having sex with cis women who only hook up with cis dudes usually. One of the things a girl told me after we had sex, it was me and her were we've been friends for a long time and then decided to do that. And afterwards she asked, hey, we're gonna be friends still, right? And I was like, what? And she said, well, you're not gonna stop being friends with me now that we've had sex. And I was like, what the fuck? What is wrong with cis dudes? Jesus. And I was like, yeah, no, of course we're still gonna be friends. What? It's just such a jarring, like, it hit me in my heart because I was raised female. It sucks because I understand it. There are a lot of dudes that just want to get in your pants and then that's it. They think that girls are like these machines that you put friendship tokens in until sex comes out. Someone else said that. It was like, it's a very good quote. I forget where it's from, but like, fuck, it's so true. Like they're just nice to women so that it's gross and bad. And I had to live that for years and years. Pre-transition, I'd been in so many shitty relationships. I've been with so many shitty dudes. And so it hurt. It struck a chord in my heart because at first glance, I felt like, oh, that's ridiculous. Why would you think that? And then I realized, oh shit, that happened so much. This poor girl has probably experienced this so many goddamn times. Basic hygiene is also very appreciated. I was with this girl in bed. I was on top of her. We were doing stuff. We're feeling each other. She's feeling my hair. She feels my face. And then she just keeps feeling my face. And she's feeling my face a lot. She's feeling the whole face. And I'm just like experiencing this. Like I'm horny. Whatever is happening. Maybe she just has a face fetish of some kind. It's fine. I'm cool. I'll try anything once. What do you want me to do? Rub my face on your chest of some kind? Would that make you hot? Where do you want my face, baby? But then all of a sudden she stops and she's just looks at me and is like, your skin is so soft. And I'm like, thank you. I use Korean face masks and I do this, and this. And then we just talked about that for a bit. And what's hilarious about that scenario I just described, it's happened twice. 2 separate occasions with 2 different cis women who usually are only with cis dudes. So yeah, fellas, take care of your skin, take care of your body. It is noticeable and it is appreciated. I also learned that words can have a different meaning when they come from a trans dude versus a cis dude. If a cis dude is having sex with you and he starts talking about his dick and he's like, "Oh yeah, you like that dick, don't you?" or something like that. Usually it's a thing where he's trying to be dominant and it feels good and he feels powerful. Me as a trans dude, if I say that, or I ask you to talk about my dick because that makes me comfortable, it's because I literally can't feel my dick. When I penetrate someone, I'm using an extender, which is, I don't like to call it a dildo or anything like that because that feels dysphoric, but it's a dick that you put a bumper on, and then that bumper rubs on my dick because I'm almost an inch erect. It's only what I've grown from T. If you want more explanation on that, you can watch previous videos. But it rubs on my dick while I'm inside the person. So literally, if I say, "Is it in yet?" it's literally because I can't feel it and I don't know. Another thing that has a different meaning if you are a cis dude. If a cis dude asks, "Is it in yet?" it's like, what? If unless maybe he's wearing a condom, doesn't know, it's whatever. Trans dude, I literally cannot feel it. But yeah, going back to the previous point. If I ask you to like, "Hey, would you mind like talking about my dick because that would make me feel good," or I am inside and I am saying like, "This dick, don't you?" whatever the fuck, and I usually ask before I say stuff like that because dirty talk is something that needs consent, because you don't know, someone might have a bad experience with dirty talk, or maybe it's just not their thing. You just ask before you do anything sexual is really the thing. Before you sext someone, ask them if it's cool. Dick pics are fine. Just ask if they want them first. I like dick pics. Like Grindr, I have it set to like, there's a setting where it's like, "Do you accept not safe for work pictures?" I was like, yeah, I love dick pics. Just if someone is consenting to them, that's cool. Just don't fucking send a picture of your dick when no one asked for it. But if I talk about my dick, it's because I am dissociating. Disassociating means when a trans person, or actually anyone can disassociate, but in this specific instance, it's when dysphoria kicks in and you suddenly become very aware of your body. I could be in the middle of sex, like fully, I'm strapped in, I'm strapped on, I'm inside of a person, we are both enjoying the sex, and then all of a sudden, do you know that feeling when you are about to get on an escalator and in your brain, you know what an escalator is. It's a moving thing. You've always known it your whole life. But then you get on that escalator and you haven't noticed that it is a stopped escalator. And there's this sudden halting feeling, and it feels like all of the sound has stopped in the room. And you step on this escalator and you're like, "Oh shit, I have to manually walk up this escalator myself." Because the cool thing about an escalator is when it breaks, it becomes stairs. But you were just so used to, you were in a groove, you knew what was going to happen when you stepped on this escalator, and then all of a sudden it's stopped. Everything is just kind of standstill, and you're walking up the escalator, and you just feel weird, like your whole groove has been thrown off. That's kind of what dysphoria is like. I'll be in the middle of a sexual act, and all of a sudden I will remember, hey, this isn't my actual penis. And everything just stops, and it feels so bad, and you just kind of feel like you're floating away. And to stop disassociating, usually for me at least, it helps to have someone hold you. It's kind of like one time I got too high. I don't like pot, so I've only done it a few times, but I got way too high, and my friend just like held onto me and like stroked me and just hugged me to like keep me grounded and feeling solid. And that's something that I need sometimes from sexual partners, is if I start disassociating, I ask them, "Hey, can you dirty talk me a little? Can you talk about my dick or something?" Because that helps me. And I planned on doing a video about this, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But staying on topic, talking about dicks for a trans dude during sex versus a cis dude during sex, different meanings. For a cis dude, it might be more of a like, "Ooh, this is hot" kind of thing. But for me as a trans dude, it's more of a, "Oh God, please don't let me float away. Are we having sex? Am I in a different dimension? What's happening right now?" Yeah, sex while trans is sometimes not fun. Something I think of on a daily basis is just, I'm so jealous that people can just have sex and feel good from it. Like you could just have sex and it just feels good and your genitals match up with what's in your head. That's crazy. I'm so fucking jealous. You can just pee and have it not be a horrifying big deal. You can just have sex and not have it be like a huge fucking bummer. Like it's crazy to me. I've never experienced that and I don't know if I ever will. Because I can get bottom surgery, but who knows if that really... You don't know. We don't know until it actually happens. I'm getting off topic. So yeah, those are a few things that are from my own personal experience and my experience talking to assigned female at birth people about their experience having sex with me. An experience about an experience about an experience. Again, just to say the word experience again, this is all experience. This is not concrete shit. I'm just giving some examples that might be able to give you an idea of what sex with some trans men might be like. Because again, we're all different. That's what makes us cool. And then there's like a rainbow in the background. Or it's like a rainbow that's like the trans flag colors. Jesse, can you edit that? Good job, Jesse. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're not calling me a dipshit, are you? No, you're not. Thanks, Jesse. Thank you, future Jesse. That future Jesse, what a stand-up guy. Anyway, I hope this video has been informative and not too ranty, because that's just my style, I guess. I just love to just talk about shit that doesn't fucking matter. Or it matters, but it's not relevant to the current topic of discussion. I will see y'all in the next episode. Remember when YouTubers used to do that with the whoosh and then it would do a thing? That's crazy. I'm bringing it back. Here we go. Whoosh.